Are you sure? Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, I think probably may end up getting like 7 or 8 though.
I saw all that. I love them. Okay.
Back to the important things.
Sometimes just talk about it.
Honestly, like I wish I could run it. I'm just so nervous.
Don't want.
Come on, are y'all serious?
Is yours really staticky?
It is staticky. Yeah, it's not like real, like awful, but do you want me to?
I was unfortunately too excited about
I've just been making sure it's not just me. You know?
Oh yeah.
Sounds like it's okay.
You gotta pace yourself.
Like,
It's like,
did you hear
she
this?
was apparently a friend of mine for the comments. If you put that.
I mean, mine is
Not
static,
wrong
but
until you
it's
find
not
out.
like that. Unless
She
you're really
even
trying to
knew like to the
No, mine's all the way down.
Is your pencil? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
understand where you're coming
It's all out. See, for that guy was, the guy testifying at that point was like, this is like, yeah, don't sue us. Don't sue us. He's like, yeah.
Alex Underwood, I missed him. Our friend Alex Underwood.
Yeah, I know.
Who's that?
That's the one in Chester County, that Big A. He's still overtime for this, like, he would assign deputies
Oh,
over
wait, this
overtime,
might be like.
but they have to kick it back to
But
him
I
some
think
of
it
it.
might be mine.
So like, you work the overtime, but he wouldn't assign you the overtime unless you paid him the kickback. Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, and then he had,
How long ago was
he did the
that
classic,
thing?
have you work for free on
I
his,
give you both of them.
on his
I was like,
ranch,
so,
his farm or whatever, sheriff moved.
how long ago was he?
This is in the last 5-6 years or so, it's fairly recent.
Huh. Wonder if that's probably before I got here.
Cause some Owen Wayne Dort's up there, that he was the one that got busted
Well,
when
I
he off.
wonder if Marlo, I can't see it, but I wonder if that character.
Oh, Lemon?
Yeah, but I mean, I know his name
Judicial
got,
system.
his name got cleared, but nonetheless.
Can you do one more mic
If you
check
made
real
that
quick?
family tree tapestry and like Harry Potter, or
Check, check, check. Check one.
birds off.
Okay,
Good.
thank you. Yeah. Alright, did it sound static?
Do you need to move it?
No, this is all the way down.
Okay.
Yeah, but do you need to switch to a different outlet?
Do you care if I?
I don't care. You can slide in there.
Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad we have that.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, a lot of
Okay,
people laugh after
well, I can't hear anything, so, never mind.
I'm sure it's fine.
Exactly.
They did not kick me out, cause I left so quickly. It's like, I'm sure. But it was 6:45.
Okay.
It was a little
Oh,
late.
there you go. So, was it number 4?
Yes, 4's off on us.
Oh, God.
Okay. I was like, don't get rid of me.
Messed up.
I'm leaving, I don't wanna be here. But like, my story was done by
Oh, I know, I
like
was gonna
2
say,
p.m.
so that,
And I'm just sitting there waiting
the
for
swearing at this interview, so it was my second
the experts.
favorite hot mic moment of all time. The first was
Was Shane Martin?
the first was in actually Wyoming,
Kept checking.
Oh.
where it was like Chuck Gray, who's now the Secretary of State there, was like talking, and the Speaker of the House record showed up as great, and he's like Chuck Gray, like fucking. No, that he's like that little fucking guy, because he's like this tall. He's a little guy, and he's just like really loud and
That's bad.
like the Speaker of the House is just great. And they didn't like each other.
All right, mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Sounds good? Okay.
Thank you.
Not just for your awareness, number
Oh, yeah,
4
4
is in that.
is staticky. I was in it originally and then switched to 12.
Just gently give you a 4. right behind me, so.
Do you wanna change your outfit? We have some options here.
Tank tops for everyone.
Yeah, it's my rock there.
The first day of session, we should all walk in.
Except in prison, no tank tops, notably. Find out the hard
Oh,
way.
yeah, literally.
Yeah, Jeffrey, well, I don't know why you would, this is cross your path. Did you know there's a dress code in prison?
Yeah, we
You
learned that.
You can't wear sleeveless shirts or skirts if they're above your knee.
We learned
Some of
that.
us were wearing both.
Yeah.
We had to wear a sweater in prison.
Outside, in that
Outside.
really hot, she's like, it's air
Yeah.
conditioned.
It was not air conditioned.
Cause y'all were, they did that just inside, right? Like, not that hard inside.
Well, I know, we were like a pretty far away. We had to go through a whole bunch of gates and then in the sign shop.
I was kinda
Ah,
scared.
okay, got
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Were you?
No.
There's a lot
No,
of
because
security.
our little escort guy was very large, so
Oh, yeah, he was.
I felt fine. He was ready to like choke someone out. Yeah. Broad River.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're at the sign shop. Pretty
And we got gifts.
Yeah, and we're not supposed to open
That's
gifts.
real
Oh,
rough.
really secret?
No, we're not supposed to accept gifts.
Wait, how much did it cost?
Nothing. They
Sorry,
made it for
guys.
free.
See, there you go, $25 or less.
I was like,
Christy
Don't
said,
worry,
yeah,
Caroline,
you
just
got
check it out.
One of my favorite state reps gave me one of their wacky ties out of their wacky tie
oh,
collection.
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's cute.
had like a bunch of little dots on it. Yeah, I don't know where I put it, but I gotta find it.
Oh, thanks.
Did you want a memento from your visit to prison? Yeah, we were, so it's like you had to go all the way back, well, not all the way back, but like through all the gates, and then we had to go through a whole bunch of extra gates. And it was like on the side.
I have a shirt with those like butterfly sleeves, and I've worn it to I've worn it to DJJ and I've worn it to SCCC, and they have different decisions on whether it counts as
Interesting.
a tank top or not. I've
Yeah.
gotten in trouble at DJJ, but I had worn it because SCCC had let me wear it before, because I was like, it like has sleeves. They're just like really.
Well, so I didn't realize, I guess every time I've been.
Are they
to prison,
worried that the,
It's been winter, so everyone wears a sweater and pants.
Whatever. I
Inside.
don't know.
Yeah,
Well, there are a bunch
not
of people in there
type
wearing
of
like
work,
short
but,
sleeveless dresses, and I was like, excuse
Because I know
me.
like the yard and
The garden was awesome. I was
Yeah.
so impressed with that.
We were getting the lowdown on what y'all did. Yeah, oh, yeah, but we're, yeah.
Just hang
I
out.
was like, you know, I mean, like it's the weirdest hangout
We
you've
were
ever
there for 3 hours with no phones.
Joe knows.
It's a
Oh, yeah,
secret
no,
society. Skylar knows too.
Yeah, yeah.
You can keep that secret to yourself.
I don't want to be part of
A
it
lot
either.
of just sitting in an office.
I do find the psychology of it very interesting because there are people that get nervous and they chat like crazy.
Yeah.
And you're just like, at some point, you're just like,
Well, okay, well, how bad was it?
so y'all are fine. Y'all are fine. But, I mean, but on the other end, I've had a couple people that have been like extremely like worrisomely quiet. You know, you're like, are you okay? Okay.
Well, it's like weird. I felt like it was like weird to like make conversation back there.
Like, after that.
Yeah, well, it was like very quiet. I don't want to be like, so Christy, any weekend plans?
That's the thing, Christy will just chat.
Yeah.
Well, like, Christy has become such a pro at this now, she's like, okay.
Right, yeah. She's, professional about it, but not quite sure what the vibe was.
Loose. Free flowing. So yeah, if you go inside a prison, don't wear a skirt or dress.
Yeah.
Noted.
Word to the wise.
And every single time there is somebody who has not gotten that memo.
It was me and
yeah.
Caroline, but Caroline was already wearing pants, so.
I don't know.
Well, I wore a sleeveless shirt and a skirt, so. Pants? Oh.
Hey. Oh, that's I went with.
Oh. So like not even work appropriate. Oh. Oh no.
Well, hopefully it wasn't a guy. That'd be
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what there's another reporter has shown up wearing baby short dresses. Dang, Christy just got this. just stick that stuff back there.
Yeah, once I get mine back.
This thing built for tall people. Now I know why it's so cold in there.
I was nervous. I was like, oh gosh, someone have to call through and.
If you don't mind, ask everybody to introduce themselves. Feel like I'm back in the Senate. Come on. Herding cats here.
I'll step off to the side there after I finish, sir.
Where's the governor at? We'll put him up by here.
There he comes.
There you go, Henry. Right there, Governor. I got my thing on there. I'm always.
All right, everybody ready? Everybody's mics ready?
One second. Everybody feels safe today.
Yeah, I feel safe right now.
All right. On behalf of the South Carolina Sheriff's Association, I'm Sheriff Steve Mueller, Sheriff in Cherokee County and the President of our association. We've had a wonderful meeting this afternoon with our wonderful governor, Governor McMaster, along with Senator Graham. And we met several weeks ago back in Greenville. Yes, sir. We met several weeks ago back in Greenville, and during that meeting, Senator Graham asked, what is our problem in law enforcement? And one of our biggest problems was the retention of veteran officers who are leaving at the earliest retirement age possible, as well as the recruiting of officers. We have more than 4,000 vacancies across the state of South Carolina in law enforcement. So today's meeting, we talked about some ways to change that and shore that up, and I'm going to allow Senator Graham to continue to talk about that and our governor. But again, thank you all for being here.
If y'all could introduce yourselves right quick.
Lee Foster, Sheriff in Newberry County.
Sheriff Dennis Kelly, Greenwood County.
Sheriff Tim Baxley, Clarendon County.
I'm Max Dorsey, I'm the sheriff in Chester County.
Sheriff Hobart Lewis, Greenville County.
Leon Lott, Richland County.
Lee Bone, Kershaw County.
Okay. Now, that chart we should probably move. The one big beautiful bill, or whatever we call it now, had a program for bonuses for Border Patrol agents and ICE agents, and we're trying to hire like 10,000 new ICE agents. So we're going to give bonuses, signing bonuses. We're going to give bonuses for people who've been in, so they'll stay in, to the Border Patrol and ICE agents. And I thought that made sense to me. Well, what about the rest of law enforcement? I thought about y'all, and here's what I learned. If you're helping the federal government at the state and local level deal with illegal immigration, you should get bonuses too. And if you're not, you won't get no bonus. But if you're participating in the 287G program, which came about in the 90s, and very simple, if a law enforcement agency, state, county, municipal, makes an arrest, and they choose to participate in the 287G program, here's the way it works. They'll find out whether or not the person arrested has a detainer warrant from the federal government regarding their immigration status. If it pops positive, they will hold this person for a specified period of time and turn them over to ICE. They're not rounding people up who are illegal. It's done in the normal course of law enforcement. And this program's been around since the 90s. During the Biden years, they didn't use it at all. Trump has turned it back on. The number of legal immigrants in this country are at an all-time high. The need to have local law enforcement help the federal government with illegal immigration is at an all-time high. So what am I going to do? I'm going to create a grant program for those states, counties, and municipalities that participate in the 287G program. And that grant program will do for state and local government law enforcement what the big, beautiful bill did for the Border Patrol and ICE agents. So if you're a 287G county or city, then you can apply for a grant for retention and recruitment bonuses to help you keep people in law enforcement. It's in the federal government's interest to have more local law enforcement help with illegal immigration. And to those states, cities, and counties that do that, you'll be rewarded. Congress felt it was necessary to put more money on the table to keep Border Patrol and ICE agents in business and to hire more of them. I think the same is true for local law enforcement. When I met with the sheriffs, I learned what he told me, that the number of vacancies is really large and keeping people past their retirement date is harder than it's ever been. Recruiting and retention is at an all-time high in terms of a problem. So what can we do to help? I talked to our governor a long time ago about law enforcement. Henry's been a U.S. attorney. He's no better friend of law enforcement than Governor McMaster. And he told me about the recruiting and retention problem. Our state retirement fund for police officers is underfunded. And there's a program over the next 13 years to make it solvent. And I'll let the state deal with that. But because it was underfunded, they put a provision in place to extend the life of the program that I'd like to see reversed if we could. Once you hit 25 years, you're eligible in the old system for retirement. Under the new plan, you have to sit out a year before you can come back into law enforcement. And everybody behind me tells me that's destroyed the retention part of it. In South Carolina, we let teachers who hit their retirement date stay on and teach and draw their retirement because we need teachers. I want to do the same thing for law enforcement because we need them now more than ever. So I've been told it could cost up to $150 million to set aside the year wait. One of the things I want to do with this grant program is for states like South Carolina who participate robustly, who welcome working with ICE, who see this as good for the state and the country. Places like South Carolina that want to solve a problem rather than create a problem, that the state who participates at a certain level can apply for a grant from this fund to help with their retirement problems. So maybe if I can get this thing set up, that $150 million problem was setting aside the year wait, that maybe the grant could help fix that. An example of what I'm talking about is you. Tell them what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In the last year, we've had 3 highly trained officers, our top officers in Newberry County. We're a small county. That's going to equal about 1% of our workforce. Left and retired because they could go and make more money in the private sector. And I asked them, each one of them, last week, I said, if you were able to retire and return, would you have stayed and served the people of Newberry County? And each one unequivocally said they would have stayed. But they wanted to take the expertise they had, highly technology astute people, and move on so they could make more money. This would have helped, and that's protecting the people of Newberry County and the people of South Carolina. And there's one other thing, if I may, Senator and Governor. The 287G program they're talking about is no difference than what we've been doing in the 90s and other times. It's the same thing. It's just making it a lot easier and a lot faster than it was under the old way. It's no difference. We still reported illegal aliens. We still reported illegal aliens that had committed crime to ICE. It's no different. It's just making it move a lot faster and a lot smoother than it had in the past.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll talk about another idea I got from these folks, but I'll turn it over to the governor because I really do believe that if we could fix this problem where you could go back to the old way of doing it, business, that you'd have a lot of 25-year folks stay on the job. Does all of you agree with that?
Absolutely.
And these are the cream of the crop. These are the best of the best. They've been around 25 years. They've proven their worth. And I want to help fix that problem, and the way to do it is to have the federal government reward people like states like South Carolina who help the federal government with one of its biggest problems, illegal immigration. So I'll turn it over to Governor McMaster, who informed me of the nature of this problem, and hopefully we can deliver.
Thank you, Senator Graham. This is a problem, and I thank the senator for his attention to it and his response, which is powerful and deep. Thank you very much. There's no doubt that Senator Graham will work to help this state, and we appreciate you in a great position to do that. We have to have good law enforcement. And just speaking from the in the context of business growth and development, all of the business leaders are impressed with the law enforcement community in South Carolina. That's one thing that they have confidence in. But we do have a problem right now. We have, I think, over 4,000 something vacancies in law. That is a dangerous situation to be in. I applaud Senator Graham for finding a way to fix that problem. It makes great sense to be able, if he can get the money, and I believe he can, and we all help do that. And I'm on the Homeland Security Advisory Council.
There you go.
Chairman, by the way.
There you go.
And I know this is the kind of thing that they will
I
be
like our
happy.
chance.
They'd be happy to support. But this plugs a gap in our system. We must have, as we grow, and we are growing, and more people want to invest in our people here, but we got to keep this state safe. And this takes us a long way to doing that. Wish we could have done it a long time ago, but we have an opportunity now, this 2287G program, with the senator's help and the help of our sheriff and our law enforcement establishment, to getting it done now. We got to let these men and women and all their experience, we got to keep them from walking out the door just to get some more money. We have to keep them working. Thank you.
Well, I can't say any better. We'll take a few questions, and with Henry's help and the Sheriff's Association, y'all been great. I learned a lot in that meeting in Greenville, and I want to turn it into action. Any questions?
Senator, there are 3 different models for the 287G program.
Mm-hmm.
The task force model is the most aggressive form.
Yeah.
The warrant service and the general
Yeah.
model are a little less aggressive. Would the grant program be for those who
We're
are
going-
out there on the street, or for those just serving warrants?
We're going to reward people who participate. The more you participate, the more rewards you get. So the more you're willing to do, the more you'll be eligible for. Now, from a state perspective, there are a lot of states that don't participate in the 287G program for different reasons. This might entice them to get involved. And what are we trying to do? The number of illegal immigrants in this country is at an all-time high. The program has been underutilized and is about to go into high gear. Why are we giving bonuses to hire ICE agents and Border Patrol agents to deal with a virtual invasion of this country of 11 million people? And the only way we're going to fix that problem is to have partnerships. And South Carolina is on the upper end of the states that work with ICE already. And the more you're willing to work with ICE, I'd like to transfer the concept we have at the federal level to the state level. So every sheriff has told me this is the hardest time, and all of them have been in law enforcement for a long time, to recruit people for a lot of reasons. We won't get into all that, but it's hard to find people who want to be police officers, and it's hard to keep them. And at 25 years of service, you're probably on the top of your game. And if we could change that, take that year weight off the table and keep them into the system, that would help fill these 4,000 vacancies, and you'd have the best of the best on the streets. And to me, the taxpayer would get something for their money. There's a lot of money being spent in Washington and probably everywhere else that you don't get much value for. You'd get something for your money here. And we're talking about $1 billion for the entire country.
One of the lingering concerns about some of these agreements are the idea of mission creep. Essentially, like, you're incentivizing people to work with ICE. Sheriff Foster touched on some of this, but I was wondering, with departments already limited with personnel, and now we're putting a bunch of money toward immigration enforcement, is there any concern that we take attention away from other?
I can't think of a higher and best use of a partnership than this program. It started in the 90s, and it just makes common sense. Illegal immigration is a federal responsibility. But state and local law enforcement agencies will encounter tens of thousands of people every day in the normal course of business. If you can get them to ask a simple question, is the person I just arrested under a detainer warrant? That really helps the federal government, because if they are under a detainer warrant, you have them in custody, then you can act responsibly. It's not going to hurt these folks. It's going to help them, because the more they do to help the federal government, more resources they'll have at the local level to do all law enforcement. If you keep a person who's on at 25 years and they stay on, it's just not they're helping the federal government, they're helping everybody. Recidivism. The second thing I want to talk about, this young lady that was killed in Columbia.
Logan. His name is Logan.
Yes, yes. And I saw her dad on TV. The man who's charged had 8 felony convictions, over 30 encounters with law enforcement. The man who stabbed the woman in Charlotte had a rap sheet a mile long. We have a central registry for sex offenders. If you meet a certain definition of having committed a crime, you go into a national database for sex offenders.
That's right.
What have I learned? The story's the same. The people who are killing these young folks should have been in jail, shouldn't have been out of jail. We got a broken system here. So I'm going to create, if I can, a national registry for everybody in the country who's been convicted of 3 felonies: violent crime, drug dealing, and find out how many people would qualify for that. So I'll ask South Carolina to send to the Department of Justice all the people in our state who've been convicted 3 times of violent crimes or major drug dealing. And what you will find, if you collect that information, where your problems are. Right now, we don't know. You'll see patterns. I'm tired of explaining to family members why this guy was out, and it's usually a guy, but not all the time. This doesn't fix every problem that we have with recidivism, but it's a damn good start. Create a list of people who've been convicted 3 times. Then start asking questions. How does this happen over and over again? So I think shedding light on this problem is long overdue. So I'm going to focus on that, and everybody behind me believes this would make the systems act more responsibly if your work product were on display for the country as a whole. That would pretty well figure out what solicitors' offices, what judges, what areas of the country are just ignoring the idea of keeping people locked up or dangerous. So that's the second thing. Anything else? Any other questions?
Governor, could we see a potential state equivalent of this grant proposal from Senator Graham maybe proposed in your next executive budget, or do you think federal funding is sufficient?
I think we may have, yes, you likely will, because this is not going to happen immediately. I'm confident it'll happen.
I hope it will.
It'll happen, but we'll need to take some steps to retain those law officers in the meantime. But on the other question, some of you may have activated or gone to the website that has the sex offender registry. It's national. that's a good thing. I know people that rent apartments, that rent homes, that are hiring people to come into their homes or come into their businesses, access that. They take a look at it just to see if this person is a registered sex offender. It would be equally nice if, and productive, and help the safety of our people if anyone could go on a publicly accessible website to see if this individual who's about to come into their home or something else has been convicted for 3 times or more of a felony.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the felony is, people would like to know that. And why don't we have that? Law enforcement has that, but it's not publicly accessible. This needs to be, and I credit Senator Graham again for thinking outside of the box, thinking ahead. It would be very beneficial to the safety of the people of this state and the country if they had that information at their fingertips. And so we're 100% behind that.
Thank you, Henry. One last question. Anything else? Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Quiet group today.
We asked all of our questions earlier.
Yeah, I'll stay around.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Me and you don't go